I was happy that night.
Yeah, that was a pleasant surprise, and we actually did take a couple calls there toward the end, so that worked out pretty good. But you never know. Maybe it'll work out. Set up a designated time and number, and maybe get some calls to call in. Maybe they can ask the guest questions or you questions, and maybe it'll work out.
Oh yeah, well I think it will. We're also going on another, and I'm not going to say to next week, another TV platform on the show. It's not YouTube. It's not, Facebook Live. It's another major one that a lot of talk shows and other, shows are on. And I'm going to get all set up with that this weekend. So in January, the second week, I think, we'll be streaming out live every night. And that'll be a great platform. That's why I added up another computer system for I could do that and remounted a different camera in here. And I'm shifting everything around even to make it look even nicer with the camera, So we got some good moves going on in January.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And actually going to have some good guests coming up in January, too, covering all aspects, UFOs, abductions, cryptids, and probably some ghost hunting, too. A little bit of mixed bag.
Oh, yeah. And, Terry Lovelace is definitely, he's got the flu, too, and he had to cancel. But he is scheduled to be on, I think, the first week of January, and we got him for 3 hours. The whole 3 hour period, talking about his abduction. So that's going to be interesting.
Right, and I can truly say I remember. I forget when it was back in end of October, beginning of November when I first heard his story, and I was like, boy, oh boy, it really, of all the people's I've heard, his is the one that really stands out. It's I don't know, maybe it's more honest or sincere. It just rings true, something about it. I was like, boy, we got to get him on. And every time he comes on, we learn something more, which I love that.
Well, I plan to start like a regression with him. We're going to start at the very beginning, and I'm going to ask questions as we go. So we're going to find out a lot more information than we ever have. And I think Terry is more than willing to do it. So I think we're going to get really deep in his abduction case. Not even that, when he saw that triangle lights, him and his buddy, and how it eventually landed. So we're going to talk about that. So, I mean, he has everything from seeing the lights to the craft landing to little kids that turn out to be aliens, the bright lights being taken aboard, and all this stuff. And then what happened when he reported it to the military? The guys in the suits come. So, not the funny guys, the guys that, are really good at kind of like, if you don't say the right answers, well, maybe something can happen to you. So we're going to have all that, and it's going to be a great show when he's on.
It is, and I'd like to learn a little bit more I'm sure he'll have more memories, too, about when he was on that craft. That was some spine-chilling events there, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then I actually do have the guy booked in January that was taken aboard a UFO. That when he was taken aboard, he was taken in this room. Could you imagine around 100 exam tables with people on them?
Wow.
Being examined. And he was lucky. He was released. Again, his story is that they were actually taking things out, opening up people, doing all kinds of weird things. He saw all that. And the screams of horror, that's what he called it, horror. And all that was going on. Now, he was lucky he was returned. The same as Terry Lovelace was returned. But what happened to all these people? When it took off, there was a whole bunch of people on board. Men, women, and children.
Yeah, man, that speaks volumes, that right there. And could you imagine the horror of that in your brain? If that's not enough to give you post-traumatic stress, what the heck is? My goodness, that's horrible.
Well, you hear what our government wants to do now. Today, by the way, people on disabilities. People like what you just mentioned, PDS and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
They want to make it where you have to go to your doctor, prove every 6 months that you're still suffering with emotional distress or emotional disorder or a physical disorder to keep your Social Security disability. And he's trying to push that through.
I got news for you. I've never heard tell of anybody with PTSD that just got cured in 6 months. I don't even know if it's even curable.
I don't know if it is either. No, it's not in 6 months. He's going to make it mandatory, if he gets his way, that it will be done every 6 months. Everybody on disability will be under review every 6 months, where you have to see a physician to continue receiving disability. More people are also worried, not just that. It could go one, put it this way, one would be maybe when he attacks people getting Social Security as a whole. You know, like take it away from the federal government and give it to Wall Street. There's a big article in the news about it today. Scary.
It is. I seen something where you posted about that, and it is scary because, you know, they've been trying to pick apart at that and use that as equity and collateral and whatever for years. And there's a lot of people out there, and you know, it even touched on in that article that you shared. A lot of people, I think when Reagan or one of them took it away for a while, it affected so many people. A lot of people they killed themselves, suicide, because and a lot of people went homeless. It ruined a lot of people's lives that legitimately needed it, and you know. And it's horrible because some people that's all they've got.
That's the only lifeline they have. Well, very fastly they reversed their decision. You know, Congress and the Senate, and restored it back. But could you imagine? Right now, they're talking about pushing retirement up to like 67. Instead of retiring at 65, if you want your full amount. You got to wait till you're 67 if that goes through. And then they're going to eventually push it up to, they were talking about 69. Now, that's because the Social Security is running out of funds. That's one way to keep it funded a lot longer. Also, that means the people that you paid into it, your employer paid into it, right? And if you retire at 69 years old, they know you're not going to get all your money back out. You're going to pass on. Most people pass on around on the average in their, I would say 73 to 76 range is the average.
Well, what it does, it helps them on a two-front fold. In other words, if it's older age, so therefore it's going to right there, that adds to a lot more money for them to play with. And then in that time frame, more people, like you say, are going to die off. I mean, it's just a law of averages. So yeah, it helps them out, but unfortunately at the cost of the older Americans that need it.
Yeah, it's scary. That's why I don't like following the news, and that's your job. I mean, you know, now what's this about underground, an Antarctica underground base that it was spotted?
Yeah, there's actually pictures on there. It's pretty intriguing pictures. It looks like a big, giant cave, and it looks like stuff is flowing in and out of it, and it looks like some kind of I don't know what it is, but it came out of it. You can see where it left a wake, and it's out in front of the cave. And it shows different pictures throughout the years. Sometimes it's covered over, sometimes it's not, but it's very intriguing. I couldn't get the coordinates. I was trying to find it. I'm going to see if I can find it by tomorrow. More updates on that, but it's very intriguing. I got to tell you, it's a giant cave.
Now, interesting. Why would they have an Antarctica underground base? Who knows?
Exactly. Who knows? It's a good question. There's so many. Well, I did see a report from somebody that was supposed to not give out these reports, that there was supposedly 129 secret military bases underground throughout the world.
I wouldn't doubt it, but do you think, honestly, also, some of these bases are for survival of the rich, some of the survival of government officials, military, to create a new world when something has been destroyed. But if something major happens, let's say we go into an ice age, well, going underground, how long is that going to give you? A couple years?
Yeah, I mean, it's all depends on how much your supplies is there. And, you know, one of the reports I reported on, you know, them big underground facilities where they've got all kinds of seeds and plants and stuff stowed away for whatever it may be. One of them, the permafrost, is melting and it's giving away, and it could cause, damage to one of them bunkers.
Yeah, that's scary too. That's for doomsday. In case the world gets wiped out, they could repopulate the planet again with plant life.
Yeah. Yep. That's what that is. Yep, absolutely. And I wondered about that because even in Siberia in the last few years, the permafrost is melting away so much, it's actually it's dropping off and falling deep down in crevices. And that's where they're getting all these, like the 18,000-year-old wolf pup that looks like it just died yesterday, and these mammoths and stuff, because it's down in that permafrost. It's thawing out and coming out now. You know, along with that, and we've talked about it before, who knows what kind of dormant disease could be down there that could be let out.
Yeah, it could be from one of these animals also, or one of the humanoid bodies, that surface there, or the plant life, whatever. It could eventually spread. Yeah, hey, don't, not before the New Year's, James. Come on.
Okay, sorry. Sorry. I always get dark on you, don't I? Sorry about that.
Well, I get dark too, so I mean that's the whole thing about the show. We're paranormal, we're conspiracy, that's all about Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark. It's not about night and day and happiness.
Well, I just don't like to church things up. I just like to tell it the way it is, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't do that. And even with the abductions, I just don't think all of it is happy and, like you say, they're not here to help everybody. I don't believe that at all.
Well, have you noticed the guest, right? We ought to keep chart. You and me both. Get a tablet going. And every time we have a guest on UFOs and talk about abductions, okay, you get this group of people, it basically feel, the abductions, they're not really doing abductions, and they're here to help us. Then you got the other group that, they're evil, they're doing these abductions, and they're cannibalizing people or, removing certain glands out of humans and cattle and all this stuff. And keep track of it, because you got these, even in ufology, you got these two different campers. That one camp believes in one thing, and then the other one believes in the other. And
absolutely.
And then you have another one, it basically believes that these aliens are from a parallel planet or from us in the future coming back to visit us. Come on. You know what it is? It's like, how can I say it? I mean, people are so naive. Yes, guys, the world is flat. So next time you take your boat out, be careful, because you could fall off. And then you'll fall off into space and you'll be gone. Okay? Of course, I don't know how you can take your boat out if the world's flat. All the water's going to be running off. So, hey, you have no place to put your boat in the first place. But no, seriously, these people are so naive. I talk to them quite often when they want to come on the show. They have the philosophy that we're the only living humanoids, period. There's nothing else out there. We're the only ones of intelligence. There's nothing out there. And you know what? These people are so naive that, I don't know. I can't believe that with all these different solar systems, galaxies, space, it never ends. We're the only life? They already know that they found some type of life on Mars. Even if it's bacteria. I mean, we already know something happened on Mars. Maybe at one time it had life. Maybe we are the Martians that came from Mars and populated our planet. Who knows? But you know what? We're not the only ones out there. And if you want to believe we are, that's your belief, okay? Because hey, you have that right. But think about it. I don't think we are. I really don't. And when you go to bed tonight, think about that when you're trying to sleep. Anyway, till Monday, James, guess what? It's time for us to say goodnight.
Yeah, and I will probably talk to you tomorrow, I'm sure. But if not, have a great weekend, and see you Monday.
Okay, my friend. Anyway, everybody, make sure you check out our website, www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. Hey, the end of the year is just a matter of days away. If you want to donate $1 or $2, help pay for our band